Hey, it's Jordan with the Young Turks, 2IT Politics. I'm here in St. Louis. St. Louis, right behind me, I think it's like a gymnasium. And there's a few dozen, maybe, I'd say there's between over 100 people here right now, actually. There's been protests, demonstrations here for about 16 days since the acquittal of former officer, his name was Jason Stockley. In 2011, Jason Stockley, a white police officer, shot and killed a 24-year-old black kid, Anthony Lamar Smith. Anthony Lamar Smith, they were in a Church's Chicken driveway, and Anthony Lamar Smith backed out. The police SUV was there. The police chased Anthony Lamar Smith, and then right when they caught him after a bit of a chase, the police officer shot and killed Anthony Lamar Smith several times. Not kill him several times, but shot him several times and killed him. And then after he killed him, he actually went into Anthony Lamar Smith's vehicle. And there's it's kind of a controversial thing what he actually did in that vehicle, but the only gun that was found in Anthony Lamar Smith's vehicle was actually the DNA on it came from the police officer. Yet the police officer, like in many other cities, including Ferguson, Missouri, was found not guilty. This happened on September 15th. So Jason Stockley waived his right to a jury trial. So he had a judge ruling, and the judge, in his final case of his career, found him not guilty. So there's been protests every day here at that not guilty verdict. And talking to some of the people here, you could very quickly see that this is about a lot more than just this one instance of a black man getting murdered. So I'm going to bring over Cori Bush. She's actually running for Congress here. You're on the Justice Democrat ticket, I believe.
Yes.
So shout out to that.
Democrats.
So we've been talking. You're running here in the area, and you've been part of these demonstrations, protests. Kind of give the audience who might be coming to this fresh. Tell me what's been going on here. It's been going on now for about 2 weeks. The demonstrations.
Yes. So we hit the streets as soon as we had a verdict, but we knew the verdict was coming, so we started to organize ahead of time. We wanted to make sure that when that not guilty verdict hit, that we hit, because we can no longer sit by, we can no longer be idle, we can no longer be complacent in allowing the police and allowing law enforcement to kill black people with impunity. It's not going to happen anymore, and it's not happening on our watch. We were activated back when Michael Brown was murdered, and so we haven't stopped. The Ferguson protesters have not stopped in 3 years. We started that thing 400 days strong. We protested, and then we turned it into some other stuff. So community issues, making sure that children have food to eat, making sure, doing community gardens and setting up all kind of organizations. And so now with this, we've been on the street every single day, making sure that people know that black lives will matter in this city. And if you won't acknowledge it, we'll make you acknowledge it, because we're going to stay in your face. And so we've been disruptive, and we're purposeful in our disruption. We're not calling for peace. And people keep saying, you need to have peaceful protests. No, we don't need to have peaceful protests. We believe in nonviolence. Peace. You can't have peace if we don't have justice. So we're going to block streets. We're going to piss you off. We're going to be up early in the morning and late at night. We're going to make noise. We're going to stop stuff. We're going to shut stuff down over and over again. We've already disrupted over $10 million coming into this city in just those few days, and we plan on going out for more.
And I'm sure the Republican governor and the Democrats in St. Louis don't like it. I say Democrats because they're basically Dixiecrats, from what I've been told.
Right.
Not exactly your most progressive politicians.
Yeah. They don't like it. But actually, I'll say this: some of the groups that we thought wouldn't pay us much attention or wouldn't be as in with us have loosened up, and they've been coming out, and so I have to shout them out and say thank you, because that has blown my mind, seeing some people that were not connected with us in Ferguson that felt like we were tyrants or we're terrorists, but now they're coming saying, hey, we want to help. And so we don't really care about what the establishment thinks. Get on the ground, because at the end of the day, we're still dying, we're still being killed disproportionately, and those that are doing it are getting off scot-free.
Let me ask you, I'm sure you've said this over and over, but this is my first time here. I'm just reading up on it. I mean, basically, you have a cop on audio saying, basically, in the chase, Jason Stockley and his partner were chasing by vehicle Anthony Lamar Smith, and he's on tape saying, "I'm going to kill this. I'm going to kill this expletive. Don't you know?" And then after he shoots him 6 times, I think, basically goes into the car. They find a gun with the officer's DNA. Yet the judge says, "Oh, the prosecutor didn't." Not a reasonable doubt. Well, what do you need him to say on audio? Like, I'm going to kill this, exactly. I'm not going to say it, but some racial epithets. I mean, I don't understand. What was their rationale for finding this former police officer not guilty?
Yeah, that part I'm still not clear on. I don't understand it. To me, all the pieces were there. But what the judge was saying is that my interpretation is whether right or wrong, whether he did right or wrong, because the way the laws are set up, he couldn't prosecute him the way that he couldn't he couldn't get the conviction. So we have to go from the inside then. That's why I'm doing this. That's why Justice Democrats, that's why we're out. We have to put more people in place that will push laws that will change this bull crap that keeps
it's the young,
on our neck.
It's the Young Turks. You can say bullshit.
Okay.
Now. Talk about St. Louis, because obviously people were paying attention Ferguson years ago. Maybe not as big name, unfortunate murders since Michael Brown and Anthony Lamar Smith. But I was talking to some people who say, like, you got 2 or 3 of these a month happening. And it's kind of whitewashed, like in other places. The police department will just, we felt threatened, and yada yada. Oh, he was a heroin dealer. So, and also, you have, I believe I don't know if it's a city council or somebody issuing issuing a resolution how great police are. Basically, this in St. Louis, like Detroit, like Cleveland, like a lot of places, basically the police are treating black people very, very differently, and it's not getting any coverage in the mainstream media.
No, it's not. And actually, there was just a situation, I believe it was August 26th, that there was a white man who led the police on a high-speed chase and ended up crashing the car. But during this high-speed chase, he shot at the police. His girlfriend shot at the police. There are pictures of all the bullet holes in the windshield of the police car, and that person and his girlfriend were apprehended to jail peacefully, easily, no incident. Why is that? Why, when Anthony Lamar Smith did not have a weapon, there was no prints on his weapon, how was the fear different? How was the other person able to be apprehended when Anthony had to die? So tell me.
But also, what I didn't understand, why is the fact that there was heroin found in his car proof of anything? The judge even said that in his ruling. Oh, well, he was a heroin dealer. I'm paraphrasing. But used the fact that he had heroin. Seems to me, well, white people in New Hampshire do a lot of heroin. And I don't know if a white person in New Hampshire would have been treated the same way, like you just described, a white person in a high-speed chase.
Yeah, and whether he had heroin or not, even whether he had a gun or not, that is not unto death. Because, first of all, we're an open carry state. And then just because if you have heroin, if you're a heroin dealer, none of those things mean that a police officer has the right to murder you. That is not their job, is to murder. You cannot be police officer, judge, jury, you can't be and the person with the lethal, you can't do that. And so we want police to just do your job. Just do your job. I'm a nurse. You don't want me to be your doctor. Let me just do the nursing thing. So I feel like the more that we just sit back and allow it, the more it's going to keep happening. And even what we've seen the last few days, all the brutality that's been happening during the protests, it's like they're saying, you can keep going, but we're going to come out harder. So we won't stop because they keep coming out harder. We're going to come out harder.
Let's talk about that, because I was actually just listening to a white guy saying the gas that got into his lungs. He went to the doctor, and the doctor said, oh, you might have actual long-term damage. The gas they were describing is kind of a delayed reaction
Yeah.
gas. That's, they could spray it, but two minutes later, all of a sudden. Could you kind of talk about that brutality? What's been happening? Obviously, 2 weeks ago,
Yes.
there were journalists arrested as well as activists and residents.
Yeah, so with that one, there was someone from the Air Force, there were 2 filmmakers, they even arrested the unhoused population that actually live on those streets, like saying disperse to them, where do they go? So they were they kettled and just took anybody that they could. They were hanging off of MRAPs, hanging off of all kinds of stuff, just grabbing people. And then they even took a undercover police officer that was posing as a protester and beat him. You beat one of your own. That's just how vicious that they have been. And even just and that day I think it was over 100 and something people arrested. Last week it was 22 people arrested, and some of them were brutalized, and even a 13-year-old boy, just absolutely unbelievable. And then just the other night we had another situation where they just came in and it was just crazy. We were literally just marching down the street, just marching, and they came in with all this brutal force. I'm turning around and people are laid out with after being pepper sprayed and the burning. And what people don't understand is the effects of that, like you said, with that person. Like even for me right now, because of all the tear gassing that I've been through, when that pepper spray, I wasn't pepper sprayed the other night, but just with it being in the air, I had 4 asthma attacks out there on the ground, and so people don't understand the effects that are being left with us. But we're citizens of this country. We're citizens. We're supposed to have the same rights as everyone else. We're not terrorists. We're not anybody that's trying to take over the government. We just want the government to be, I'm trying to take it over in Congress, but
Trust me, if you keep costing them money, they might call you eco-terrorist or some form of terrorist. That's what they like to do if you cost them money.
Hey, I'll take it.
Let me ask you, bigger picture. Missouri, St. Louis lowered the minimum wage recently, so it was about to go up to $10.
Yes.
That passed, and then the governor, citing Republican talking points, moved it down. So you got poverty.
Yes.
You have, frankly, seems like out of control police department.
Yes.
Racial discrimination. Kind of talk to me about St. Louis. I just learned you have the city of St. Louis, the county of St. Louis. It's a completely different government, and now you have people losing what was going to be economic advancement.
Yes. And so that it's like it's keeping this foot on people's necks. You have the police who stop people, just because, and and throw out all of these tickets, and people lose jobs because they end up in jail for a couple days trying to pay, because they can't afford, in these debtors' prisons, they can't afford to pay whatever it is to get out. You have we have food deserts. You have schools that aren't of quality because the funds aren't there, and it's just so many issues on top of that. And so when you take away, because let's be real, $15 is not like the most amazing wage a person can get. So we weren't asking for everything. And to give us 10, you weren't taking a person from poverty to the high life, with $10. And so the idea that no, people can go back to $7.70, go back to $7 an hour is unbelievable. But you're talking about the same people who can't afford health care, the same people who can't afford child care, and now they can't. You're taking back the little bit that they could have had. But one thing I will say is we have come together, and there are many businesses within St. Louis that decided we won't go back. We'll keep with the $10. Mm-hmm. So we are supporting those companies. They have signs up on their walls. So hope is there, but it's just not within our government.
I'd love for you to tell me after this some of those businesses so I could go talk.
Sure.
Real quick, tell me about your race. You're challenging for Congress. Which district?
Yes, 1st District here in Missouri. Lacey Clay, I'm challenging him. He's the incumbent Democrat. Does progressive-like stuff, but the thing is, it's time out for dipping in and out. It's time out for playing politician. Those days are over with. There has been a turn in our country, and now you have to have people in office. We have to have people in office that are ready to fight for the people and fight for what's right. You can't be, kind of in and kind of out. So for me, I'm a boost to the ground kind of chick. I'm fighting for my people for everything that they need. I'm coming after Medicare for all. I'm coming after, we're taking the money out of politics. We're making sure that there are jobs. We're making sure that we push for green industry. We're we're coming for it all, and I'm not afraid to do it. I've been knocked down, beat up by the police, all kinds of stuff, but I'm going to stay out there, because if I don't, my people are who's hurt, and it's all about our legacy. We got to keep pushing.
Well, I think the interesting thing you said was you're costing them money.
Money.
I was talking to Ty before. I said, I think the only thing that's going to work is hitting them in the wallet.
Yes.
Because that's the only thing.
They understand.
That's the only thing aggressive police,
Yes.
aggressive plutocrats, and bought-off politicians understand.
Yes.
Do you guys have more things in the works? You don't have to get into it, but is there other kind of economic efforts underway to hit them where it hurts, so to speak?
We have a full strategy that we put out piece by piece.
Okay. And tell me about what this is today. There's going to be demonstrations, continuation of protest?
Yes, so today, people think that we're like a one-trick pony, I guess. We are out here today. We called for the same type of action that we do with all of our other protests. The difference is today, we're going to have the people go out into this neighborhood and canvass. We're going to knock every door, and we're going to try to sign people up, get people to register to vote. We're going to make sure that people that have been in and out of the injustice system know their rights, if they can vote or not. We're coming for everybody. So, because it's one thing for us to just fight on the street, it's another thing for us to go ahead and take over our government, this way, start to run, start to make sure that we're voting. We have to use our power. So this is what that's about. Yeah.
Full disclosure, Jank, I think, co-founded Justice Democrats, so I don't want to be a homer, but if I was in Missouri, I'd vote for this woman. She's you got the gift. You got it.
Thanks,
it's
George.
genuine. Thank you very much,
Thank
and
you.
I'll talk to you later.
All right.
Absolutely.